guys can hear me, please say yes, you can hear me. This party will be starting very, very soon. Hello, hello, Purple Sparkle. Good to see you. Hello, everybody. I am playing around with my messages, and yes, I'm using Anna as a guinea pig. Hello, hello, everybody. Give me a quick moment. I'm trying something different here because normally I have a very hard time with reading your messages when I drag them. And now I'm trying to see if I could make them prettier for you guys because that is how I work. Things bug the crap out of me when they don't look pretty. So let's try something new here, shall we? It's about time we're trying something different. Let's see if that's still not to my liking. Bear with me for a second. Just bear with me. This is so odd. So odd. It works 1 minute and it doesn't another minute. Purple Sparkle, let's try you. You know what? Hey, if that works, then we'll just leave it alone. Let's not try to fix things that are not broken, shall we? By the way, that's very Amazonian. When something is not broken, you break it anyway so that you can fix it to be better. Hello, everyone. Thank you for spending this afternoon with me. I am your virtual career coach. My name is Holly Lee. I spent a lot of years with the top tech company as well as startup. I live tech, breathe tech, talk tech, everything tech in helping you find your dream job first and then company. I'm here on my free weekly Tuesday afternoon in answering all of your interview questions. If you have a question for me, please do put a giant Q in front of your question because there will come a time there's going to be a lot of people coming in and out. I wanted to make sure that I'm going right into the Q&A. Okay. And if you're truly meeting for the first time, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. When you do, you'll get notified, not by me, by YouTube when I come live stream. Why would you want to miss free session? And we're not connecting on LinkedIn already. I just made a post earlier today where over 100 people, this is real, over 100 people, over at least 100, at least those are the ones who's reached out to me via LinkedIn. Yes, I count them and I stopped counting them. You all landed a job offer because some of your messages entails, Holly, I spent the last 9 months doing nothing but pumping every single one of your YouTube video and I got an SDE position at Amazon. This is my first job. I'm like, holy cow, really? Cool, awesome. Holly, I spent the last 3 months, I've done nothing but to do every single thing in your STAR method and your template. Thank you so much for providing those. I'm now 3 months at Amazon. I'm like, wow, awesome. So all day, every day long. These are the people, a lot of them are coming into my live stream like this. My live stream is fantastic because you're actually getting the real-time feedback. Many of you, bless your soul, all ask me the same questions. So if I feel like your questions are similar to the top 20 of them, I'm going to skip them because they're really the exact same thing. For example, I put on earlier on, I want to talk a second about application status at Amazon. And also what is the job market today to provide you with a little bit of the trend as we're going through the post COVID-19. What does that mean for you guys? Okay. So the first question is application status. Now keep in mind everything that I'm sharing with you guys. By the way, audio check real quick. Can you guys hear me okay? Let me know you're still with me. You can hear me okay. And you're ready to roll. Give me some coffee. If you're ready, give me some coffee, so that I'm not wasting half an hour talking to myself when I am on mute, just in case. Okay, when it comes to your application status, and I mentioned this several times, okay, for those who are new, and I do understand that there's a lot of new folks coming in and out of my live stream and my channel. Welcome, if you are. Application status is a shocker, but it means nothing. Let me explain to you what that means. Also, with a grain of salt, everything that I'm sharing with you, I know the interview process with my eyes closed because I've been in it for over 20 years. I started recruiting before Yahoo was even Yahoo. There's no, what was a web browser? Dogpile? Zoom.com? I can't remember. It was so long ago that I couldn't even remember the browser. I remember that back then the browser come and it go, and it doesn't even stick around. Gmail was definitely not around during that time. And yes, it was black and white legacy system. That's called internal application system, where application or CRM systems are not even fully built yet at that time. That's how long I've been doing recruiting. And I can tell you this right now. Application status means nothing. It's really depending on the mood of your recruiter. That is correct. Your recruiter's mood. Let me explain. If I go into work and I have thousands of applicants, right? My first priority is I'm going to go into ATS system and I am only going to focus in the one that I know that I should schedule a phone screen with, the one that I have to schedule the on-site or, extend an offer to. Those are my priority. Everybody else, my lowest in priority, if I wanted to browse through and see if your resume hit my buzzword, assuming that I'm looking for a software engineer or a TPM leader, whatever role that I'm working on, then I would absolutely do my fancy smanchy buzzword or Boolean strength and recruiters terminology to see if I can find those talent. Listen, guys, there are thousands and thousands. Let's just be real. Let's just say 500,000 applicants at the bare minimum. I'm going really low number here. Okay. I mentioned this a few weeks ago where I was at a fireside chat with the VP of Google, of Tesla, of Yahoo. So we were just hanging out in a chat room in Clubhouse where they have mentioned that for each one of their open position, there's about 1.2 million applicants for one role. And if you're applying for Amazon, and let me tell you, back to the application status, why would you care? Why would you care if the application says to be considered, not considered anymore, reject? It means nothing. What that all means is that the recruiter who's looking at your profile may not even know what they're looking for. Let's be real. Okay. Here's my hint. If you were to ask me today, Holly, how many great recruiters have you worked with in your life? Probably no more than 10. Meaning it's not that they don't know what they're doing. They need a significant amount of care. Let me explain that as well. Meaning that I don't just want to fill the rec and put a bunch of number in there. Number meaning you guys candidates, and hopefully someone stick. Those type of recruiter, okay? And a lot of them, their first job is at Amazon or, Google, and they don't really know how to work hard. Work hard really is. Scroll back up the first 5 minutes in the live stream, this live stream right here, where I talked about when I started my recruiting career 20 plus years ago. I had to knock on pavement, and I'm not even making that up, literally walking down on pavement or on the grass per se, knocking on doors and say, hey, my name is Holly Lee. I'm with Tech Systems. I sell IT services and augmentation. Can I earn your business, please? Like that. And then in this millennial, I feel like a lot of the recruiters are just given a bunch of referrals. Even so, they don't even run with the referral. So that is trying to tell you something here. If I'm in the mood, if I'm your recruiter, all I have to do is select all and reject. Why? Well, because I'm already running with 20 referrals. I don't have time to run with you. I have one rec to fill. And I know I can fill out of the referrals I have. You hear me? Okay, I hope that makes sense. So don't spend your time and waste your time in thinking about what is my application status and keep on. I have a pin playlist. It's only 5 video. I think it's really short. It's about 8 to 10 minutes long or so with timestamp and everything. I talked about failed interviewed. How do you prevent yourself from getting another failed interview? Because to be honest with you, it's getting a little bit frustrating because a lot of you guys don't listen, and you know who you are. I don't have to tell you who you are. In general, people don't listen very well, where I pumped so many content for you all, so many free content. This live coaching is also free. And I just mentioned that over 600 people are landing a job offer just by doing every single thing that's already in here. In here, people. That's the thing that I don't get. And then when I read your message, you said, well, Holly, can you please tell me your greatest tip on a program manager? I'm like, okay, well, there's every single playlist with every single top behavioral questions and template and example and walking you through, but you haven't, rather than looking at the material a coach built for you for free, you go directly to the coach along with thousands of you guys without even doing the work. And then every now and then I'll get professional, even leadership position or especially leadership position, almost as if they want me to write their story for them. That ain't happening. If you don't work hard and invest in yourself, if you don't give yourself at the bare minimum 3 months, if you have had, listen very carefully, if you have had a failed interview already and you want to go back to a company like Amazon with a failed interview, I'm not talking about 3, 5, 6 failed interview, although those are my customers as well who came to me before they worked with me. They have multiple failed interviewed. You need to stop because you seriously need to invest a couple of months in overall what exactly are you looking for? Where's the communication gap? Because that's the reason why you didn't get the job. And the example that you're providing for the interviewer, it probably doesn't make sense. Most likely you weren't very clear the problem that you were solving, and you definitely did not walk them through in how you're able to troubleshoot in diving really deep with your own initiation in solving the problem with impact. Okay. If you don't know what ROI is, you're going to struggle getting a job at Amazon because the business acumen and terminology is very corporate. I work for a lot of big organization. In fact, I work with 90% of the FAANG companies. I work with a couple pre-IPO company as well in my career. And there's a lot of different lingo that they use. Everyone talks about ROI and business impact. I'm throwing that out there because as I'm working with some of my customer, even executive level, if they don't know what that is, you are going to struggle because in the interview process, if a bar racer, or your hiring manager, or your, I don't know, peer, were to ask you, so what is your ROI? And if you have to ask them what that means the interview is over. Okay. So this is what I mean. You have to do your due diligence. And I mentioned this in my playlist. I mentioned about how to figure out where you have failed. I can tell you right now, you and I don't know each other. We probably never have a conversation before. And this is probably your first time joining in. Well, hello, if you are. I can tell you the reason why you didn't make it through an interview is because in your guts, you already know that you're not ready, but you keep on taking the job. I don't know why you do that. I don't know why you do that. I've created a couple digital products. I have a LinkedIn Accelerator, resume, and even interview as well. Interview Accelerator with examples and all day long, tech, non-tech, and whatnot. The one thing I've noticed is that when people sense the feeling of, oh my God, I actually have to do work. What? It's going to take me a couple months to land a job. I'm like, yeah, it's going to take you a couple months. If you think that you can go to someone for like the one section and then you can get a job, yeah, it does happen very often with me. But we're talking about professionals who are already, for example, at like Microsoft, going into like an Amazon where they have the industry experience. Are you with me? They have like similar product experience. For example, if you're an Xbox Live and you're going to like Alexa, I mean, it's really speaking the same technology, environment, and languages. Of course, you're going to get a job. You just need me to have the one session with you to play mock interviewed and help you a little. Even so, after our section, you still need to practice, right? You still need to practice. But in honestly speaking, of the couple hundred people I've helped, 21%, let's just say every 1 out of 10 people I've helped can land a job within 1 month in working in my VIP cohort. But the truth is they have been studying for a long time. And those are folks who either have bombed their interview multiple times, have grown a lot from it, have done a lot of research and homework. And when they come to me, they are extremely thirsty. They're thirsty and they're hungry and they're ready to just get that offer and do whatever they want. So ever since I took off my corporate hat and left my very great job at Facebook to be a career coach in the last 2 years, I've learned that, you know what? A lot of professional, it's not that they can't get the job. The problem here is it may come in a shocker with you guys. You're not willing to put in the hard work. You are not willing to put in the hard work. So I need you to tell me, as your virtual coach right now, what do you need? What is it that you need? Because you cannot go to a coach and say, can you answer this for me? Rather than saying, can you answer this for me? My style is, why don't you try it first and I will fix it for you alongside with you. If not, you're never going to get the job, because if they come back and ask you probing questions, how are you going to answer that? Okay. Now let's move on to talk a little bit about the job market. Where are we right now today? There's a lot of articles that's flying out there. I don't know if you guys pay attention to LinkedIn. I have my Facebook feed. I'm a content creator. I'm a YouTuber, but in reality is I'm a true introvert. I don't really like to blow up social media. Really, I should because I'm operating a full-time business of my own right now. So on Facebook, I love the app on the news. And lately, I've been reading a lot of things about people quitting their job. So those who are not affected by the pandemic, a lot of the companies are back into the office, right? Even if it's partial or a quarter of the time, they realize that, it's an environment that they didn't even enjoy what they were doing. They stuck with it because, it was a routine. It pays the bill. And now they're making a bigger effort into just quitting cold turkey even without anything. I have those clients as well, just quitting because they just don't want to waste their time in doing things they don't love and it doesn't matter to them anymore. If you can relate to me, just say relate on the comment below. Hey, Nee. I was just telling my friend Nee that I get nervous every single time when I live stream. That's probably why she's here. It's all good. All right. So I hope that makes sense with you guys. Don't feel that you are the only one who's applying for the same job with a group of folks who are affected by the pandemic. What I'm trying to tell you, the job market is actually still is very, very scary in the sense where you're also competing with those at the FAANG company who left because they don't want to be with those companies anymore. Are you listening to what I'm saying? So stop, for the love of God. Stop applying to job. Stop. Cut it out. Stop applying to job. You are really adding on to the problem of putting more thousands and thousands of applicants where if you miss what I just said 15 minutes ago, scroll up. The recruiter is just going to select all and reject because there's so many applicants in there and they're too busy running with their referrals or someone that they have sourced. Because of good recruiters, I'm assuming that they like the hunt or the challenge, somewhat of a challenge. They like to hunt, meaning that I personally, if I have to think about all the hires I've made, I don't find the right fit with applicants. I like to look on LinkedIn or different avenue to see if I can find the exact profile and for me to reach out to you. So I like that hunt. I like to hunt, and I'm a true believer that if you're really good in what you do, I should be able to find you. Even if you have no tech company experience, I can find you by the buzzword and the keyword you put in on your fancy LinkedIn profile. Are you with me? If you're still with me, please say yes. Thank you. John says relate, and congratulations, John. With your job offer, I can see that I have a couple Amazonian in the house. Thank you for coming by. I have created a Facebook group. It's called Holly Lee's Alumni Group for everyone who's result in a job offer. It's not just Amazon, but it is 90% Amazon. It's not that I want to talk about Amazon. It's just that all of you guys are asking me about Amazon. You see where I'm going? There are quite a few Google, Apple, startups, basically employer of your choice. Okay. So with that said, it's just a great way for me to keep in touch and not forget who you are. I want to be, even though I was able to be part of your career journey, I want to pay attention to you. I want to see all the great things that you will be building, especially when that being your first big company or your first FAANG company. Okay. Constant Price. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, let me just go ahead and say hi and see who all is here. I have a pin if you've just joined. It is a playlist. Basically, it's a playlist to help you bring out the awareness, to teach you how do you know what to pay attention to in an interviewer's perspective and setting the right expectation, and also knowing what to prep for your upcoming job interview, Amazon or not, as well as if you have failed interviewed, how do you know where you failed? It's very simple. It's in your storytelling. Okay. It's in your storytelling. And every single person who thought I was crazy come into my VIP coaching cohort and where I took their 15-minute story and I basically, literally, true story, I repeat everything you just said to me in a mock interview setting and I can do it in 30 seconds. And then my cohort just shocked. It's not hard. Interviewing is just a different skill, guys, okay? I'm not saying it because I'm overconfident. I'm saying that because it works. What a lot of the people I've coached way before I was a career coach, I was a leadership recruiter. I was a talent leader, recruiting leader. I work for a lot of these companies and I know exactly what they're looking for because truthfully, I know what I'm looking for because you need to show up that you want the job and you're prepared. If you don't sound like you're prepared, that means that you're really shaky into even describing what you have done, and then we're done. Okay? Don't forget, keep this in mind. Every time when you guys chose to apply for a job, you know that there's at the bare minimum thousands of applicants. That's a very low number. We're talking about millions of applicants going after the same job, including people with FAANG company background that wants the job that you want. Okay? So stop doing all of that and just start creating your story and fix your branding. Okay? Every single thing you need, it's in my channel. It's in my playlist. It's organized very pretty for you with process and steps. All right? Okay, I'm glad we're finally on the same page. Hello, Rajiv. Thank you so much for your patience for being here. Tap in. Thank you so much for your patience and welcome to the leadership here. Anna, always great to see you. Everybody say hello to our community manager, Anna. There's an Anna and there's also an Anlu, which will be joining shortly as well. Purple Sparkle, thank you so much for your support as always. Shahab, hello, sir. How are you? Shahab says, I'm going to go ahead and pin this for you. Sahab says, Holly, could you please answer this behavioral questions? Tell me about the time you had the worst punishment. Well, first of all, it's a very vague questions. I need to know what position you are applying to. It could be a number of different things. So I don't want to just throw something out there without knowing anything about your background. If someone were to inject, I don't do well with generalizing thing. If you notice, this is not an Amazon thing. I'm not being Amazonian. I'm just simply being Holly Lee. I like things to be very, very specific. For instance, when I was working for employers, some of the feedback I may have is I'm very tense, but I deliver results very quickly. In my coaching cohort with my customer, they get results like this. That means I'm very tense and I move very fast, very specific. So when you're asking questions, please do let me know if you can give me as much information as possible. At the bare minimum, what role are you interviewing for? If you know the team you're interviewing for and the company you're interviewing for, because although all companies are asking very similar interview questions, the process may not be the same. Okay, so that's going to save us a lot of time. In your case, Shahab, as example of worst punishment, I don't really know what you're asking me. It sounded like a time where you made a mistake or a career failure. If I have to translate that, I can't just give you an answer. I've actually had a whole video tutorial on that, and that playlist is called Career Failure. Okay? So that would be the questions. And that's also one of the interview questions that I've never, ever heard of before. I have for more junior level candidates, maybe in definitely not a technical environment. So I'm not really sure if you can give me a little bit more meat into that. Okay. More information, please. For field engineering. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. For whom? Are we talking about Amazon? Help me out here. Okay. So it sounded like more of a career failure. Go check out my career failure video. Okay. Jonathan, good to see you. Anna Romero from Michigan, thank you for being here. Joe from Paris, welcome back, Joel. Tracy, how are you? Pavna, hey Pavna. Vamsi. Okay, let me see what Vamsi has for me. Ramsey says, I barely find any data related to quality assurance engineer. There's actually a lot of QA stuff in Glassdoor. Where have you been looking? Let me know where have you been looking, okay, my friend? Because there are tons of information all over Glassdoor. And if you haven't seen any of my video yet, I highly encourage you to see every single video that has the word Amazon on it. I don't even care if you're interviewing at Google, at Apple, at startup, or anywhere else, because at the end of the day, how you prep for an interview, it's all the same, okay? I know that a lot of you wanted me to answer your questions directly, but when I find myself repeating myself over and over and over again, I'm just directing you to the resources, because at the end of the day, all I care about is that you're able to create intelligent answer with the top behavioral questions. because a lot of these companies would want to know a time that you failed, especially with the field engineer that I've just mentioned. Okay. Um, there's just so many different ways to answer one behavioral questions. That's why you need to know what those questions are and just kind of hone in on it and create amazing story out of the top 17 questions that I have on my playlist. And that playlist is called Amazon Leadership Principle Questions and Answer. I don't talk a whole lot about the Amazon Leadership Principle because literally it's on their website, guys. You guys know that, right? Amazon.com/career. It's all over their website. You just have to read it. It's right there. Okay. So when you're creating your story, rather than wasting your time and just looking at the LP, why don't you just answer the question? When you answer the question, it's going to build your confidence and you will have practice in being very fluid in your communication, in acing the job. Does that make sense? Let me know if that makes sense because so many of my clients where I can tell if they're doing really, really well, right? And suddenly the communication level became very choppy. Then I start asking my member, my coaching member, did you do something different? And then this client says, yeah, I actually did a research and then I looked at, 100, 150 different answers. I read all the different ways, Holly, to answer one question and they were really proud of it. Stop doing that. Stop. You're wasting your time. Why do you do that? Why do you do that to yourself? Okay. And then, I get a lot of every now and then where if I have a customer that tells me, well, Holly, I work with the other coach and the other coach says that I can talk up to 3 minutes to answer to 3 to 5 minutes to answer questions. Yeah. But right now, time has changed. Time has changed. Even before COVID-19, I made my very first video a year and a half ago, end of 2019. It's called the 60-second elevator pitch. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. It was horrible. I filmed it in my closet in full disclosure because I was just so passionate in sharing my knowledge with the world. I just didn't care that I didn't have any gear. So I locked myself in the closet. So that tells you the customer obsession and determination. If I really want something, I'm just going to do it. So should you, right? So with that in mind, you have to really think that when you are ready to just land a job offer somewhere and then you follow coaches and there's a lot of content creator, which is great, kudos to you. Look at all the free stuff, look at all the pay stuff, whatever that rocks your boat. But you got to understand every coaches are completely different. Completely different. Even when I work at Amazon and I compare myself to my peer, our styles are completely different. There are a lot of things that they're doing that I don't agree with. At the same time, there are some where I absolutely adore them and I respect their work and I can learn from. So everyone's background is very, very different. I'm just someone that knows how speed work. Okay. Hence, I was at Amazon for over 6 years. I know how to move fast. I know how to cut to the chase. I know exactly not what they want to hear, but what type of um, culture fit or having the right work ethic and smart to be in certain environment. I just know that's because I've actually physically worked in those environments before. So if you're going to work with a coach who's never worked with a single tech company before, that's giving you coaches. I'm not saying this to put them down or anything. You cannot compare apples and oranges because I'm pretty sure they're sharing knowledge base that could absolutely benefit you. And the part that I'm sharing is very niche. I focus on top tech company that's moving fast. That is my niche. I'm definitely not going to teach you how to land a job with startup, which I can, but that's just not my heart and my passion. Do you see where I'm going? So if you landed here, the 68 people that's watching right now, if you're enjoying my authenticity in yelling at you, please give me a thumbs up and we should continue doing more Q&A. Give me a star. Give me something to motivate a girl. I've just been getting a lot of that, guys, of, you know, talking about the 30-second, 45-second elevator pitch and answering your question is bogus. But guess what? They all end up landing a job outside of Amazon as well, and it worked beautifully. And if I were to talk to 1 full minute in answering a question, you will fall asleep. So if you already think that is long-winded in less than a minute, why would you want to go more than a minute, right? I don't know. To me, that's really silly. Just not my style. Alrighty then. Thank you, Anna, for confirming that. So, Ramsey, not Ramsey, Vamsey, sorry. Vamsey, to answer your question, there are tons and tons of questions in QAE in Glassdoor. Okay, tons. When you take data related quality questions, as a data engineer, the technical question is quality assurance. I'm not sure what kind of data engineer you're interviewing for. I'm not going to assume that your question is for Amazon because I'm a career coach for all of the tech company and not just Amazon. But in theory, a lot of the brand name, you have to know how to script. Some company require no coding at all. There are some that use, and there are some that still uses manual testing. But when it comes to Google and Amazon specifically, those two is white box testing. They like to build everything in-house on their own, white or gray boxes, and you need to know your test cases, test scenarios. So it's really depending on the role. You need to give me just a little bit more meat. But for an L5 or level 2 position, you just need to be able to solve the problem with some hint. Okay? With some hint. But of course, you know how to QA and test your test cases before you complete them, right? So check out Glassdoor and also check out every single one of my Amazon playlists. It will show you how to create your stories around that. 30% of those questions will be technical. That's 70%. It's still going to be behavioral question based. Okay? Rajiv. Thank you so much for your patience, Rajiv. And you said, thank you, Holly, because your video, I could clear first round in Amazon. Tomorrow I have my second interview with the hiring manager. Could you please guide me for supply chain manager and procurement manager? That's everything that I literally just say. Either you're having a phone screen or an on-site, you still need your story, okay? And that playlist is Amazon Leadership Principle Question and Answer. You cannot miss it because I only have 2 playlists with Amazon Leadership Principle, and that's one of them, okay? If you were to spend time in doing everything, don't try to cheat and skip content. If you skip any part of the video, you're skipping the step. Okay? So you're building your story without the foundation or the depth or the breadth. Do you want to skip the breadth or are you skipping the depth? And that can cost you of not getting a job offer. I hope that answers your question. And if you guys are truly, truly stuck, I made a video called Amazon Interview Guide. And that guide tells you exactly step by step how to go into that playlist, taking it down a notch, okay? And do keep in mind that every single thing I'm teaching you how to improve your communication with storytelling, I don't teach you how to just focus on leadership principle. You guys heard that loud and clear, right? I teach you just how to get the offer for whatever company and whatever role and level you interview for, okay? You're welcome, Shahab. Let's go. Hey, Sharivas? Hello, Sharivas. How are you? Megan, how are you, Megan? Megan says, I have an upcoming second round interview at Amazon for a role as strategic account manager. I've helped a lot of strategic account manager at Amazon. What leadership principle would be the most relevant? Anytime when anybody would ask me what leadership principle is relevant, that's all of the leadership principle in any company. You have to look at the core value and then you have to look at what they evaluate, right? But for the bottom line is Amazon really care more about your result and your aptitude more than what you've actually deliver. So it really helps if you when you guys give your examples, you have to be able to give very specific example. I've said that in every single one of my tutorial video, which I have like 126 of them. And I talk about giving specific example, specific problem that you have to solve. If they're not specific, then it will sound very, very vague. Especially with an account manager, you have to be able to know what is the largest amount of deal that you were able to close, right? Especially as an account manager. Vamsey says, by shed some light for QAE2 position, I meant thank you for being specific. You guys drive me crazy when you don't give me specific questions. So I have to second guess who are you interviewing with and what are you interviewing for? Yes, I am yelling at my audience. I do that quite often. I mean, what are they interviewing on? Is there any different from SDE2? I just talked about that, Ramsey. You're not going to be asked STE has a lot of data structure and algorithm and coding languages, more than 500,000 code, like any of the primary coding languages, which is why I was asking if you could be more specific in the team you're interviewing with. For example, consumer, you have to be able to know how to code in Java. Okay. Usually Java or Java and Python for STE. For QAE, you don't. If you know Java, then that's a plus. For the most part, they still use, I don't know if they use PHP. Some group use different languages, but JavaScript, it's an Amazon environment. What really help you, Vamsi, is looking at the job description. If you look at the tech part of the requirement, it tells you exactly what language that you'll be coding in to the T. And yes, Amazon doesn't mess around. When they say you need to know how to code in these languages, you really need to know how to code in these languages. When they say you are supposed to build or create test cases and scenario, which means, yeah, you're going to be solving problems with test cases and scenario. Okay. Thank you so much for the coffee. Anna Romero, I had a failed interviewed. Okay. Thank you so much for the coffee. Where's my coffee? Sorry, guys. A girl need a sip of coffee really quick. Okay. I had a failed interview, but the recruiter told me that it was a culture fit and asked me if I wanted him to share my profile with other roles. What is your experience with that process? That's a really good question. It's an excellent question. Thank you for asking. Well, normally, if you don't, that's telling me that you are either because I'm not your recruiter, I don't know what the feedback says. But in general, there's two types of feedback like that. One, you don't meet the requirement for the role. So you're not a good fit for the role, but you may be a good fit for different types of role. Culture fit meaning that in your tone and your voice, you're smart. You do sound like you're eager and you're hungry to learn, or you're a quick learner. That's a culture fit at Amazon. When people talk about culture fit, that's exactly what they mean. And if you haven't seen my video on culture and why Amazon, I talked a lot about what is a fit and what is not a fit at Amazon. That's a pure example. Okay. That means that they really like you. They really want you to be an employee for Amazon, but they're not sure what role is a fit for you. And let me ask you this. If you look at your own branding right now, you may want to ask me, Holly, what on earth does my resume have to do with my interview? It has everything to do with it. Okay. Because if your branding isn't clear, you're not clear in what you're looking for. So the biggest advice I can give you, Anna, is evaluate your own resume. Okay. And ask yourself, what have I actually done? What were my key accomplishment and achievement? Just ask yourself that. I have a video that's called what recruiters look for in a resume. And forgive me when I made that. I think that was my second video ever made. I don't know what I was doing. I don't know how to film. My audio is But the content is there though. If I have to remake that video, I could probably do it a lot better. I just haven't had the chance to. I apologize because I have more fun just live streaming and answering real-time feedback for you. And that's what I enjoy doing most is coaching. Although I like making video, but who like to stare at the camera and talk for 10 minutes rather than just live streaming and answering your Q&A? Okay, just check that out, evaluate and rate yourself, and ask yourself what else could you be a good fit for. And should you need help, reach out to me, Anna. I also have the branding accelerator or hollylee.co/resume, which is okay. So good luck on that and keep me posted. Don't reapply, Anna. Don't and everyone else don't reapply after a failed interview. You need to figure out where the gap is and to fill the gap. Let me know if that makes sense. Please drop it down and let me know if that makes sense. Okay? Tiff, hey Tiff, a sandwich and coffee. Look at that. That's called insist on higher standard. That's raising the bar right there. If you guys wonder what raising the bar is, right there. Tiffany gave me a sandwich when no one gave me food. You guys only gave me coffee. I'm just kidding. That's good. That's called thinking big and diving deep. Hava, sorry, Hava. Hava, how are you? I come from an IT industry. I have no experience of a product company. Work on my resume and leadership principle. Can I apply to Amazon and will they reject my application? Well, if you don't come from a tech or product company, that's okay because none of my customer really do. Okay, that's not all true. 95% of them don't. Um, when I made that comment such as that, maybe 1 out of 100 of my customers in my VIP cohort came from VMware, for example, right? That's my customer. But it takes that many people to meet one. A lot of them came from, for example, McKinsey, Deloitte. You see where I'm going? Management consulting companies. I have oil and gas as well. I have everything. I have Boeing. I have like all over the places. It's a product, but it's an airplane. Let's be real. It's not like a tech product or consumer electronic or e-commerce, right? So I had a lot of those. You can, but I will never, ever coach anyone to apply for a job. And for those who are in my cohort or have already landed a job, you know that I'm not a fan in having you apply for a job. Again, you're really adding on to the same problem now that the ATS system have so many millions of applicants. They're just going to sit there. And then worst case scenario, you guys are all going to get a rejection letter. I'm not even sure if the recruiter ever looked at your resume because there's so many of you. Why not reach out to the hiring managers? Don't know who the hiring manager is? Well, then I have the entire playlist. It's called Networking Strategy with Holly Lee. And that is also free. Okay? Check out that playlist. And that's how you do it. Jesus, Bastardo, can I be the 101? You got an offer! Yay! Can I actually? It's probably about 130 something people who landed a job offer. When I say 100, I'm literally counting the messages that I got on LinkedIn. I did not count my messages on anywhere else. So I have other platform as well. I did not include the one in my VIP cohort. My VIP cohort alone, for example, I only take a handful of 15 students every single month. And every single month, there's at least 4 to 6 people who landed a job offer. Okay, so I didn't even count those number. Thank you so much for coming in. What swag should I get from your store? Oh, that's really sweet. I start and then I'll begin. That's right. Nice. Oh my God, I'm so happy for you. You can get whatever swag you like. That's awesome. Congratulations. Thank you so much for sharing your success with us. When you guys come in here and you announce your job offer, one, I get to show you off because you've actually followed my step and resulting in job offer. More importantly, you're motivating a lot of the people who are still being affected by the pandemic, who are still trying to find the way of what works. I get it because sometimes life takes you to different places and it's not that you don't want to stay committed and work hard. You know, you have kids pulling your hair. You have to make dinner. I mean, whatever life takes you, and this is what I mean. I get it. Trust me, I get it. But I've also mentioned earlier on that even before the pandemic, I was recording the first 50 video, 50 in my closet. Okay? In my closet. That's how I did it. And if I have to do it in my car, I probably would have a green screen somewhere and block things out where you can't tell that I'm stuck in my car and I don't have an office. Do you see where I'm going? So a lot of you guys who end up getting a job, especially at like places like Amazon, the bar is really high, guys. Even though they don't look at your academic background and you don't need to come from another FAANG company or tech company, but they're really looking in confident, in ownership, your ability, you're smart, you're able to pick things up and doing it on your own. Doing it on your own and being able to scale by asking smart question is very, very Amazonian. That is the type of culture they're looking for. And someone earlier on here that mentioned that they felt they're interviewed, but Amazon mentioned they're a culture fit to apply for different roles. That's exactly what they mean. You heard the phrase, right? It's easy to teach somebody the skill. It's very hard to teach someone you can't teach someone to think big. I mean, eventually they'll become lazy again. You can't teach a lot of those soft skill that should be ingrained in who you are. That's awesome. Hugo, hey Hugo, how are you? Hugo says, I keep getting I keep getting a final interview, feel good about them, but can't seem to get the last hump. Well, Hugo, if you have tried that and you've had multiple job interviewed, let me hang on one second. Let me go ahead and pin this so I can see your questions. When you're going through that, Hugo, I want you to just stop interviewing because it's in your message. Okay, my friend? I don't even have to ask you why. But if you have multiple failed interview with Intel and Amazon, they're completely different environment, probably similar interview process. You need to pause and polish up and take your sweet time in honing in practicing on your storytelling. I don't know your story. I don't think I've ever reviewed your story before. But if you are interested in like that or have me support you in some sort of way, reach out to me via LinkedIn and let me take a look at your profile and see if it's something that I can help you with. If you're able to land a job at Intel and Amazon, that's telling me that you have something in your professional branding that gets their attention. But what about your achievement? How are you able to transform a lot of your business impact into storytelling? So that's telling me that that's probably where the gap is, because in reality, that's where a lot of my customers are struggling with right now. I think I'm going to brand myself as the girl that's called fail interviewed career coach or something, because 95% of my customer all have failed or interviewed. And the best story I can tell you is the one who failed the most interview and ended up at Amazon in less than 3 months, right before 3 months mark. Um, and he failed 5 times as a systems admin. He has about 10 years experience and he keep on applying for system admin, system support, systems specialist. I'm like, wait, hang on, stop. The way how you're answering my questions, you have a lot of solution architectural experiences in the background. Um, and you also have a lot of network engineering. There's a big difference between engineering and administrative and the support role, right? Why don't we have you network and reach out to a bunch of hiring manager to re-interview for Amazon again, and let's go with level 6 and not 5. And guess what? He's an Amazonian now for almost 4 months. That's a true story. This is all day long. This is just one out of the many, many, many story. When I say, and every time when I'm trying to coach you and give you content, take it as a grain of salt. I'm only sharing information that are the reality is actually happening right now. And I'm literally sharing you every single thing that I've coached my customer who are at Amazon and other company of their choice. Keep in mind, I told them I'm going to tell you the same thing as what I'm telling them. Don't just focus on Amazon. Like Google is a fantastic company. There's a lot of mid-sized companies also a fantastic company. What is it that you want? Ask yourself why Amazon? Is it because they have an open position? But how do you know you're not a good fit for other employer? Right? How do you know that? The odds are if Amazon is reaching out to you and you meet the bar, that's why you're in the loop, right? Or in the interview process. That's also telling me that you are probably meeting the bar with 10 other companies as well. If you guys are still enjoying this, can I please have some thumbs up in my video? Because that's really going to help the algorithm a lot, okay? And if you're joining and you're very new, I do stream twice a week, Tuesdays and Friday. Friday is my leadership coaching for pay YouTube member by hitting the giant join button. That's where I reviewed a lot of your story. I'm diving deeper into reviewing story and also reviewing your LinkedIn profile. That's going to help you land job interview, okay? I wish Hungry for Employment is here because he just started his new job. Hey, I listened to all of your content. Oh, and you got a job. Yay. Yay. Woohoo. Yes. Yes, girl. Yes. I got a job offer from Amazon last week. Thank you so much for all the content you share. You're welcome. Hopefully, fingers crossed, you're going to get the offer that you want. I like to think that you never settle for the first offer because the employer would never give you the best offer. I'm going to shut up right there. Okay. The employers, you guys all have been on the employer side. You are never going to give your first offer as the highest offer. So take some time before you're anxiously accepting your first offer. I have not heard such things where Amazon's going to take an offer back because you're asking for a little bit more. You just have to weigh the pro and con of what's important for you. And basically, what do you want? Is it base that's important for you? Is it equity for longevity? What is it that you want? So take a moment to think about that. Okay. Constant Price. Hello, Constant. Constant says, what do I do to add my summary to my LinkedIn profile? I have tried several times and keep getting an error message. Constant, I hope to see you this Friday because I would love to. Here's what I like you to do for me, because I remember looking at your name last Friday and I can't even find you. If I can't find you, the employee definitely is not reaching out to you. I want you to reach out to me on LinkedIn and just let me take a look at your LinkedIn profile. And then on Friday, I can give you a full review. Okay. And for the summary, are you talking about the about section or the headline? Because the about section, you just have to go to your setting and I can show you how to do all of that on Friday. Okay. Shuvik. Hey, Shuvik says, I have a prep call with the recruiting leader this week. It's for a QAE too. There's quite a few QAE. If you scroll up, I just talked a whole bunch about QAE and what you should be doing, so on and so forth. But the prep process is similar. QA is all over Glassdoor as well. Okay. Rajiv says, how many rounds of interview will I have after the second interview with the hiring manager? Usually it's 4 to 5. Joe, what is a prep call? You must be talking about the recruiter call. The recruiter call, guys, the recruiter call is generally trying to figure out, are you the right fit for the position? The recruiter don't know, they can't perform the job, obviously, because we're not in your role, but we can tell by working or partnering with the hiring manager for a while and knowing the expectation and hiring bar. If you, well, I shouldn't say that, because I have witnessed a lot of recruiter who just basically going very script sounding like, you're interviewing with anyone else. Do you have any pending offer? Like those questions, but a good recruiter would ask you, describe your role and responsibility to me. Depending on what you're telling me, I'll know if you meet the bar or not, right? If you are a program manager or product manager even, I would simply just ask you to walk me through a product that you have initiated and built from beginning to inception. And sometime I get a lot that says, I'm sorry, what did you just ask me? I'm like, okay, not a fit. You see where I'm going? Mai says, I study for hours and days. Got to put in the work. Yes. Thank you, Mai, for sharing that. You just got to put in the work. Coming here is excellent, but I have so many free resources and guide for you. I mean, when I say guide, my templates alone, if you haven't downloaded my star template, you can go to my main page it's just Holly Lee on YouTube, right? If you go to my main page, my channel art, on the top, there's a click button. You click on it, you can just download it. Better yet, if you want to, you can simply just go to, where is it? Right here. My webpage is hollylee.co/blog, and there's blog of interview tip. There's about 10 blogs on there, handwritten. That takes hours and hours of thinking into it. There's also a session called download. And guess what, guy? All of that stuff is free. Yeah, how you like that? It's free for you, okay? As I mentioned, there's a lot of free stuff there. You guys got to seriously take advantage of that. It's crazy that you're not taking advantage of it. What are you waiting on? Especially with my template, guys. The template of my work while I was at Amazon, how I was able to ask for $500,000 like within 24 hours to build my own team and scale all over the world for Amazon within less than 6 months. That was the most innovative thing I've done. Okay? So I'm just guiding you to the right directions. Dean, hello, Dean. How are you? I just wanted to say thanks for everything. I used the star method and had my loop last Wednesday. Thursday, Amazon offered me a job. Yay! Okay, when I say my 100 plus job offer, I did not include the 5 from today. You see what I'm saying? It does work. It's a serious amount of hard work. It's funny because every time when you guys reach out to me on LinkedIn and I tell you that, If you have a failed interview, it's going to take you about 3 months to get another job, meaning fixing your branding, fixing your story, not applying. I don't teach you to apply, network with the right people, and end up re-interviewing again with a bunch of other companies and result in a job offer. It's going to take you the life cycle. It's close to about 3 months because that is the trajectory of all of my VIP members. Okay. That's why I mentioned that. But I feel like every time when I mention that it's going to take you a few months to be ready, everyone gets turned off and they just don't want to do the work. And then guess what? 2 weeks later, they send me a message and they say, "Oh, I didn't make it through." I'm like, "I know you didn't make it through because you already told me that you had your final loop for the third time that you didn't make it through. That's the first and second time within 2 months." So you see where I'm going? It's repeating the same pattern over and over again and not being able to break through that habit. Okay? Joe. The prep call is when the recruiter let you know what the interview process will be like. That is true. The prep call is the recruiter letting you through the interview process, but a good recruiter will not waste a hiring manager's time or whomever that's phone screening you to also do a little interview to see if you're a potential fit, which a lot of recruiters these days don't do anymore. You're welcome. Hello, Kurti, how are you? Yes, John, you can relate. Tracy, relate. Anna, yes, and yes. Yes, of course. Of course you all can relate because we're all winner. We wanted to get the not just any job, but the right offer, people. And it's gonna take a lot of time. Oh, I see some star. Do you guys mind if I put some star on here? Because I really, really, really love my star. Thank you, Payenka. Thank you so much for the star. I love me some star. Anna, thank you so much for the star. Does anyone else feel like they wanted to give me star? Do you see the pattern here? All the ladies are giving me stars. Where's all my gentlemen? Thank you so much. And thank you for taking the time and being here, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Let's go. Pick on someone new. Shaniqua. Hey, Shaniqua. I'm so glad I found you. I applied for a senior finance analyst Amazon Music and had my first phone screen on the 8th with a senior manager and peer. I have moved forward for a second call with the senior manager. Congratulations. Best of luck to you. Okay, make sure you practice your story to death, literally to death. Jordan, I'm connected to you earlier on LinkedIn. Going to be a SVM would be a vendor manager, correct? Is it vendor manager? I want to say it's vendor manager, Star and Precision Works. Congratulations. Yay. Job offer all day long. You guys see why I asked you to come by and stop by in my stream so that you could announce your own job offer, because it really truly allowed the 51 people, 52 people who's watching right now to be motivated. At the end of the day, I'm all about focusing on the result and scaling what I'm teaching you to get you to the finish line. And I don't want to just preach and talk without data. I'm all about data. That's Amazon, right? I don't want to talk about here's my tip and I'm the best, interview coach or career coach, whatever you want to call me. I'm all about here's how many people I've helped. Because through those people who comes in here, if you guys pay attention, every single person who announced a job offer are different people. Okay. These are real life people who follow every single thing to a T. And I really want you all to do the same thing. I know it's kind of cliche for me to mention this, but it's just Amazon. All you need to do is to learn the skill of interview, and you will, I promise you, you will get a job offer with whatever company you chose. It's not just Amazon. You will. Trust me, you will. I know that some of you are still feeling a little bit demotivated right now. Some of you keep on applying and get rejected. Some of you keep on interviewing and get declined. So just stop the pattern. Just stop. If you feel like you need to give yourself a week to cool off, just to get your mind together, go do you. If you feel like you need to go run around the blocks or do whatever you can, meditate, do whatever you need to kind of come back to earth. But whatever is it that you need to do, when you come back, You need to start. You see where I'm going? You cannot look for resources like this, for example, and not do the work. If you don't do that, you will not get the result that you want. I cannot emphasize that enough. Okay? Shahab says, is it okay to let the recruiter know you are interested in the same position which just posted in different country? No. Because if you fail and interviewed once, I mean literally last week, the recruiter cannot resubmit you for the same position, different country, doesn't matter because the hiring bar is still the same. Okay? Remember what I just said. I'm pretty sure you're a good fit for other position as well. If you only want to work for Amazon, there's a way to go do that, but it requires hard work. What did I just say? I said, don't reapply for the same job again. People, stop that. You see what I'm saying? You got to cut it out. You have got to cut it out. You keep on doing that, you will hit the wall again and again and again. Again. Okay. Alrighty. Shaniqua said, I plan to spend this week going through your playlist. Thank you. Yes. 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 To further straighten my interviewing because I definitely thought I failed the phone screen. I've already downloaded the start template. Shaniqua, the thing about my template, any template that has questions and answer or example, there's literally an example where you can easily take a screenshot. There's an example for career failure, invent and simplify, earn trust. There's a lot of different example. There's also example how I use the same story as my weakness and my biggest business impact to recycle without sounding exactly the same thing. Because even though I was able to solve one problem, but that problem was so huge, I can split it in half where I don't have to repeat anything. Does that make sense? Let me know if that makes sense in the comment below. MM says, I am new to your channel, 10 minutes in, and I know this is exactly what I need. Which part? The yelling part or talking to Jesus part? Which part? You know, you guys kind of figure out what my coaching strategy is and my style. I'm very authentic and I'm real, and I like to tell people exactly how I feel because, you know, it's not that I came from Amazon or these companies. It's just who I am. You need to be able to find employment. What employment? What am I saying? You need to be able to find employer that's a good fit for you. So a lot of people, for example, when I ask my customer, why are you interested in Amazon? They don't even know why. So if you're going to tell me because they're the biggest company in the world, that's all the wrong answer. You're not going to get a job. You tell them that, okay? Because everyone is telling them the same thing. But why? Really, why? There is a phenomenal engineer. Let me give you an example. There's someone that she's actually in here right now. I'm not going to name drop her. She knows exactly who she is. She's an engineer, and it took her a total close to about 3 months. She looked at some of my videos. She practiced on her own. She created her story. Basically, she followed a lot of the coaching and teaching, and she's now a software engineer in the Madrid office. There's stories like that all day long. All these people, all they did was just follow the process and do the work. That's it. Easy, right? It's so simple. I think after put it this way, and I know that a lot of you guys are parents here, either your mom or your dad. I truly believe the hardest job I ever had to do was to learn how to be a parent. Okay? If you are already a parent and you're trying to get a job, trust me, it is a piece of cake. You just have to do the work. Being a parent is work for the rest of your life, probably, because you're constantly learning, right? But when you're trying to land a job offer, all you have to do is gain that skill. By what? Practicing. To do what? Following every single one of my steps. It is rare to have a career coach who uses her personal story at the FAANG company. By the way, I also include Facebook in there as well and Google. My personal experience to teach you every single thing. And even in my digital course, my online course, I use my own resume. I'm showing you what type of resume would generate getting a job offer at these companies way before I ended up in the FAANG company. When you look at my background, you'll be like, what on earth, Holly? Really? Google hire you with that background? Like, yeah. I work for companies that no one even heard of before. It's all about how you present yourself in storytelling and the tone. You see this tone? You just have to show up with confidence. And if you don't know it, just simply say that you haven't done it before, but you do whatever it takes to learn. How? Right? It's about asking questions, and interviews should be playing ping pong. There was this rule back to what, 10, 20, 30 years ago, where in an interview setting, you should talk 70% and the interviewer would talk 30%. It should be back and forth. I disagree. Again, I disagree because time has changed. People's attention span is so short where it should be like this. It's more like 60-40. Try to get as 50-50 as possible. And no coaches is going to tell you that. For instance, if I ask you, so tell me about yourself. Really, get to the point in 30 seconds. Tell me about yourself, why I should hire you. Why are you interested in my team? Great. Now that you're done telling me about yourself, it's my turn to talk now. So I'm playing ping pong with you back and forth. Do you see where I'm going? Because a lot of you have asked me, well, Holly, an interview is almost an hour long. We're going to run out of time. No. If you keep the interviewer entertained and exciting, that person is going to give you questions that are exciting. Mainly, you're setting them up to ask probing questions from your answer anyway that you could easily provide an answer, right? Is that right? So this is what I'm talking about. Okay, so think of it as a ping pong conversation when you're in an interview setting, or if you're using your spouse or your friend for mock interview, however you want to do it. You can tell when you're the only one that's talking, something ain't going right. Okay, Lucas, hello, Lucas. Lucas. And Lou, I don't know if you were here, but there's been 6 people who landed a job offer at Amazon. Lucas says, I have 4 back-to-back interviewed Amazon tomorrow. Do you have any tips for business case in Excel and sales pitch interview? Ooh, that's fun. Oh, I wish I was interviewing you, Lucas. Sales pitch is so much fun. It's also role playing. It's kind of like role playing as well. No, there's nothing that I would have prepped you any differently. If you are in a sales role, then it makes sense that they're doing business cases and sales pitch. It should be something that is ingrained in you before. Like, walk me through a time how you're able to close your biggest deal. Walk me through an example how you close your most difficult customer, right? Same thing. Even if you're not in sales and you're an engineer, same type of questions. Tell me how you're able to solve the most difficult technical questions. You see where I'm going? So it's in the end, it's all the same. Let me know how it goes, Lucas. Sounds so much fun. Not you, though, as an interviewer. Ray from New England. I'm sorry, not New England, New Zealand. Hello, Ray from New Zealand. Sankit, any tip for cloud support associates for Amazon profile? Please guide me. That's everything that I just said in watching my example, Sankit. Okay. Caleb says, I had a phone interview panel today and waiting for a panel interview. Good for you. Good for you. Fall 2020. If suitable, Amazon's job not in my city, or if Amazon is not great fit for me because of the location, can your coaching help me land a job with other companies in non-tech space? I'm in supply chain. Oh, funny that you mentioned. Well, Fall, thank you for joining. If we're meeting for the first time, I'm a career coach. I'm not an Amazon coach. I have coached a lot of people that chose to work for Amazon because Amazon was the only company that was hiring in 2020. In 2020, I was able to help 35 supply chain managers, operations and fulfillment area managers. Basically, I'm speaking your language right now. So yeah, I think I'm kind of familiar with that process. And I think because I've been in the recruiting industry for 21 years, I've literally worked in every single one of those organizations and know how the hiring process work for all of these companies. I had so many people. It was really funny. I was literally cracking up where they'll be like, Holly, can you help me with my Google interviewed? Can you help me with, I'm interviewing for some startup. I'm not interested in FAANG. I'm not sure if you can help me. Why would you think I'm not qualified to help you? Where did you think I came from? How did you think I grew my career? So I thought that was, that's a little funny. So yes, I can help you with that, but I also don't just accept any customers. If you're interested to have me to support you for fall 2020, please do reach out to me on LinkedIn, which is right here. I'm the only Holly Lee as a coach. I like to give give myself the opportunity to review your LinkedIn profile and see where you're at right now, what situation you're at very, very specifically, and what I can do to support you. Okay. If I feel like I can't support you, I can tell a lot by looking in someone's LinkedIn profile if they're going to do the work, right? Yeah, that's a big secret there. That's why I wanted to look at your LinkedIn profile to see how much effort you put in, where you're at, and how you're answering my questions. And that's why I only select a handful of customers. Okay. Amina. Hey, Amina. Are you able to shed any light on some example? This is a good question. Are you able to shed any light on some example on case questions asked by a hiring manager at Amazon? What do you mean by case questions? Because I have a lot of templates and a lot of questions and answer on my playlist. Okay. Go check that out. You have to be a little bit more specific if it's anything outside of that, but those are all behavioral questions. I think that's what you're talking about. MM says, any specific tips applying for an environmental engineer manager? Everything that I just said, MM. Okay. It's really the same thing, guys. Go look at my playlist, create your story, because once you create your story, guess what? You have already answered all of the leadership principle right inside your story. Don't overthink. Don't sugarcoat things. Just simply follow the instruction to T, to a simple T. Okay. And if you're absolutely struggled in creating your story, I have the Star Interview Accelerator. It's a digital course where there's examples in there as well, and that walks you through how to create your personal story with my template that I have already done the research, that I know for a fact that companies like Amazon and other tech companies are going to ask you, because it is the same template that a lot of my customers end up getting a job. Okay. Vivian. Hey, Vivian. How are you? Look at this. All the people who just landed a job offer gave me a thumbs up. Thank you. So happy that you made it, Mai. Dome's Tech Chat. I started my new, you started your new position. Yay! Yes. I think this is number 7 or number 8 job offer from today. You see that? Thank you so much for coming in, and thank you for trying to make it. I know a lot of you are working right now. Shh, I won't tell Amazon that you're here. Thank you so much for just supporting the community. You started last week, and any tip for the first few days? Thanks so much for your video. It helped me so much. I have an entire playlist. It's called Amazon Onboarding Process. You should definitely talk about it. My first video was your first week. My first week was very intense, even though no one is nudging me, no one is, forcing me to move fast, but you can feel the environment. I don't know how it is right now because a lot of things at Amazon are still virtual, right? Just other company in general. But even so, Amazon, even your virtual or in the office, you never want to wait for someone to tell you what to do. You want to be always on top of your game. Always. That's Amazon. Okay. And I have another video that's called My First 30 Days. Put it this way. By the end of the first week, I already have a load of candidate as the only recruiter for Kindle hardware at the time. This is like 10 years ago, exactly 10 years ago. And by a week and a half, I made my first hire. Okay, that's how fast it moves. So just to kind of give you a chance, and I have a video, my first 90 day. In the first 90 day, I can't remember how many hires I have, but I basically have a recruiting strategy plan for the entire year globally. And I have a budget approval to build my own team. I pretty much turned into from a senior recruiter to a recruiting manager almost overnight. So I created that role for myself because my boss at the time had resigned. I had gone through so many leadership change during that time because Amazon was really scaling in the consumer space. And I talk a lot about consumer, Kindle, as well as Alexa. So I gave you 3 different examples, but if you really look at it, they're all the same. It moves in the same speed, and you have to be very quick on your feet. Okay, congratulations. Anna says, if the recruiter says he will share your profile with the peer, what do you think are the chances? I'm not really sure. Sometimes they say things to be nice as well. If you have a good relationship with the recruiter, I would say keep in touch with them. Again, Rather than relying on the recruiter and applying for job, why don't you guys network and reach out to potential hiring leaders and look at my networking playlist that's already in the playlist, okay? Because over LinkedIn has close to about 700 700 million users on LinkedIn, and about 40% of those are hiring managers. That's a really high number. Okay. Out of those number, just Amazon alone is a huge amount of number. All right. Rosemary talked with an Amazon exec recruiter, liked me, and was advancing me to the hiring manager. She told me to apply online, but today I went in and saw the application was archived. Is it over? Well, if that is the case, Rosemary, I will follow up with your recruiter. Like I've said, sometimes they move so fast and things happen in the back end. It could just be because they have multiple open position. They have that one filled and there's another one coming up. So again, everyone, don't waste your time in what happened, what's the status. Scroll up the first hour. The first thing I talk about was application status. It means nothing. They're simply busy and they click all to decline, or something happens to the rack of the movement because everyone is being tied down to that one open position. As you know, if that position is closed, everybody's declined. You see where I'm going? So don't pay attention to what? Application status, and don't do what again? Apply to jobs. I know I know 90% of you are not going to listen, but that 10% of you guys are going to be my customer and are going to result right back into like the Amazon company of your choice because you're actually listening and doing the work. Okay? Do the work. That's key. Hey, Catherine. Catherine says, it means they no longer considering you for the, yes. Amit says, people who get selected on the dashboard, they see hired or pass. What do you mean get selected on the dashboard? What do you mean by that, Amit? Because I just talked about application status doesn't really mean the whole thing. It doesn't mean anything. You're looking at someone who also helped Amazon with their internal process and teach. I actually teach interviewing at Amazon outside of my full-time job. I teach them. So I would really love it if you all just listen to me and don't do the opposite. Okay? Don't do the opposite. Just listen. Listen, people. Let's zen together. Okay? Vamsi says, would there be more specific next time? Thank you for your, of course, anytime, Vamsi. Amit. I miss this because the recruiter is not responding to emails, so I don't know what is the final conclusion. Oh, your recruiter never responded to you. That's not cool. If the recruiter doesn't respond to you, I mean, first of all, they have to respond to you. It's just a candidate experience that's not there. Do you guys remember when I tell you how I feel about recruiters? There's good one and there's bad one, because sometimes they're so busy that they just don't know how to juggle and manage. And you can, I mean, don't get me started. If they don't, then probably that's not going to work out. If you tried a couple of times, generally you should hear feedback from the recruiter within 1 week to 2 weeks. If it takes more than that long time, feel free to add your recruiter on LinkedIn to stay in touch. You don't have to like the recruiter. They don't need to be your best friend, but they do have a network inside of Amazon. Again, guys, what do we not do? It's applying to job. And I will never teach you to reach out to recruiters. I want you to reach out to hiring managers. Okay? Hiring managers. Moose, you got an offer. Yay! This is number 8 job offer today. How you like that, people? How are you like that? I know there's a lot of you guys who are still watching right now. If you forgot, please do hit the like button with the thumbs up. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, because that's really helping out a girl in maintaining my channel. You want me to continue coming in here live streaming for you twice a week, please do support my work by doing so. Okay? Congratulations, Moose. You accepted a job offer today for a senior ops manager role. You should be super excited. It's going to be a lot of challenge coming your way, and it will always be day one. Congratulations. Now I wanted to make sure that I'm really picking on someone that I haven't been able to give attention to. Fall 2020, yes, our new leadership member. Thank you. When you guys subscribe as my leadership tier or any tier from that manner, you're really supporting my work. You don't understand. I don't think you guys understand what I'm talking about. When I mentioned that I quit my job, I literally quit my full time job, my very high paying full time job, cold turkey, so I can be a YouTuber. I know this is a dream of the land, guys. But on a serious note, I did it because I just wanted to do it for fun. Seriously. I gave myself a year. If no one likes my work and if I am not able to help anybody, at the bare minimum, I was learning how to be a mom. I was a new mom. I, gave birth and I wanted to occupy my time as if that's not enough, right? And I wanted to learn a new skill. I've always loved to coach and I wasn't sure if I was good enough because streaming on video is hard. And to teach someone where you don't have the physical interaction, I wasn't sure if I would be successful, to be honest with you all. But when I start live streaming and people start coming in here, and finally I was able and allowed to have pay YouTube member, I did it because it supports my work. Everything that you see here, my gear, my headset, my phone, is you guys. You guys bought that for me. It's because of all of the pay member. And every time when I have things that I pay attention to the market and what people are saying in the job market, and if there anything else that can add value to you, that's what the live streaming is about as well. And I do hang out with my bar racer friends at Amazon. I'm very up to date with their interview process, their expectation, what they're doing, the assessment that's brand spanking new. So I'm trying to deliver as much as I can. And in reality, it's not a job to me. I don't feel like it's a job because I'm really enjoying what I do. So when you're interviewing for a position, you shouldn't just interview for a paycheck. But if you're just focusing on the money, let me tell you guys right now, it's not going to be pretty because you're going to be worn out, burnt out, and you will hate it. I have been there. I've been there so many times in so many different situation where finally the best job I've ever had is one, being a mom, and two, is just coaching. All I want to do is coach. In recruiting, one of the reasons that I love my job so much is because I had the opportunity to build my recruiting team in scaling, like in hiring people, in coaching people. At that time, it's called candidate relationship. And in the end, they are so happy. And there's so many of my hires who are still at Amazon or at Google, wherever I left them over 10 years. I made a post, in fact, on my LinkedIn last Friday, I think, last week sometime, and I talk about one of the very first hardware person that I've hired for Kindle, and he just retired. He literally just retired in June, and he sent me a very nice message to thank me like that. That's why I love coaching and I love mentoring. So when you're applying for a job, people have to hear it from your tone because a lot of you guys in my VIP cohort, when I asked you, why did you come to me? And there are so many coaches just in Seattle alone, just YouTube alone. Let's not talk about that. There are thousands of career coaches. I don't know if you guys know that. Now everybody woke up and they're all Amazon expert interview coach, right? There's so many of that now. So when I ask them that, you guys tell me the same thing is because you feel that I enjoy doing what I do. And that's why when you guys show up to your interview, you have to really show up like you care about the task that you'll be doing and the work that you will do and how you're able to influence. Does that make sense? Okay. Alrighty then. Let's go with Ayup. Ayup, I have a senior program manager interviewed coming up. Ooh. And identify which story to highlight. You need all your story, my friend. Every single one of your story. There's no such thing as one story over the next. You need all of them. And also my Amazon interview tips playlist, there's a lot of Q&A for PM. You should take a look at that playlist, okay? There's a lot of timestamp in there as well. Ayub. I'm new. What's the bar raiser? Well, if you're new, you should go look at my bar raiser video. It will tell you exactly what a bar raiser is because I was literally interviewing a director of tech who's a BR at Amazon. So, go check out the bar raiser video, okay? Bar raiser, treat the bar raiser like anyone else. They're just an interviewer that's outside of your org. That's really it, okay? Sometimes, um, you know, back then when I was in recruiting for Amazon, even if the bar raiser is not inclined to hire someone, I would say yes. But with reasonable fact and data, I was able to change their vote. I was able to convince the entire table to not weak hire, but yes, a solid hire to bring someone on board. And I've given a couple of those examples before previously as well. Okay, so this is what I mean. Don't focus too much energy on the bar raiser. Focus the energy on you. Krishna says, how do I crack the interview for business analysts without much experience? Well, the thing is, Krishna, you must have some kind of experience if you're interviewing, right? If they are selecting you. So why don't you start by creating your story by following everything that you just said in the examples? It's called Amazon Leadership Principle, questions and answer. Okay? Tracy says, we truly appreciate... I'm beginning to see things. We appreciate your time and making a decision to come help people like us that are struggling when job seeking. We want to thank. Oh, that's really sweet. Thank you, Tracy. Our tech Krishna says, are tech recruiters giving a specific LP while talking to the candidate? No, we're not giving special LP. We just want to see if you're smart enough and able to pick up in an Amazon environment. That's really it. Okay, I'm going to close this up. Okay, but before I close it up, I wanted to ask you guys one more time. If you forgot to give me a thumbs up in this video, please do so. And generally what I do is I will put the timestamp in here. Sometime this week, I will be able to do so. And I can see that from today's Q&A, a lot of you guys are interviewing, which is great. Usually 50% of you guys have failed your interview. The other 50% are interviewing at Amazon right now. But guys, either you're interviewing at Amazon or you're not interviewing at Amazon. You want to work for Amazon or whatever company that is. You guys seriously have to be prepared with your story. I don't know how many times I have to mention this. Don't worry about what LP should I study on. Forget about the LP. Just focus on the example that I'm giving you. If you don't have your example, no LP in the world is going to help you. Is that correct? Am I right or am I right? Okay? Don't waste your time on thinking about things that are repeating the same pattern again. Whatever you do, and if your own story doesn't make sense to you, you have to try something different. Unless you come here and tell me that, Holly, I watched all your video, I've done all the work, and I don't know where I have failed, then we can have a different conversation until you get to that point. Okay? Stay healthy, be well, but more importantly, be good to yourself.